Welcome to You're Not Alone. The podcast brings you real stories of strength, hope, and resilience. Our guests are real people just like you who have faced losses, anxieties, and life obstacles but emerged stronger. Today's guest hit a rock bottom and declared bankruptcy at 62. But then she became a powerful guide for women who are ready to rise beyond self doubts and reclaim their purpose. Now she helps women connect with their intuition, feel deeply, and awaken as vibrant quantum biological humans. Her story is proof that transformation has no expiration date and that pain can be the doorway to possibilities. Let's dive in. My name is Victoria Vita. I'm a mindset mentor, Reiki master, and a sound healer. I'm also the CEO and founder of Self Awesomeness and the host of this podcast. And today's guest is Sheila Wallace, a powerful guide for women ready to break free from self doubt and step fully into their purpose. After decades of striving to be good enough, she hit rock bottom, declaring bankruptcy at age 62. But instead of giving up, she turned inward, becoming a relentless detective of her own unconscious patterns. Now she helps women reclaim their intuition, feel their emotions without fear, and understand themselves as vibrant, quantum biological humans. Her mission is simple but profound to help women transform pain into possibility and live lives that are truly their own. It's an honor to have you on today's podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you today. And I'm very excited about this topic. But let's dive into the beginning of your journey. You shared with me that when you declared bankruptcy at 62, that was your defining moment. Can you take us back to that moment and share what was going through your mind at that time and what has shifted afterwards?
I started out life as a nurse and I graduated in 1969, so that'll tell you how old I am. And by 1975, I was self employed as a nurse. Eventually, I had children. I've been married for a very long time and I had my children. And I went back to school for cosmetology. And so then I was running retail businesses, bricks and mortar
Hmm.
retail businesses in Canada for, well, basically 22 years. And during that time, I was always fascinated with this topic of energy. So I started learning Reiki and NLP and hypnotherapy and trance.
Hmm.
And then I think the big thing was actually discovering that my first thing was feeling physically ill and not being able to get in touch with whatever was wrong. And I met an environmental physician, and I met a mentor at roughly the
Hmm.
same time. I generally got better using traditional routes. Then I decided that I was going to start a business in the United States. And I went in with 18 years experience, and I had a lawyer, an accountant, and all of that. I also had the bank said it was one of the best business plans they'd seen for a small business
Hmm.
in a long time. And when I drove to Southern California from Eastern Canada by myself.
Oh my.
And,
How long did it take you to get there? I'm just
uh,
curious.
4 or 5 days. That's it. And yeah, my husband had been a national rally driver at one point in his life, so he'd written the whole thing out, and I just kind of kept to the time and all that.
We didn't have GPS back then, right?
No,
So
no, actually, that was 2002, so no, probably didn't have GPS back then. Didn't have smartphones, that's for sure.
hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I got there and everything went to pieces.
Hmm.
And so a studio that I was supposed to open 2002 or 2003 uh, didn't get open until the following April. And everything that
Oh.
could, I mean, everything. And I was terrified because, that there was I had $135,000 investment that escalated to 310 grand in less than 9 months. So very, very scary times. And basically I was living like a pauper, just trying to hang on to everything.
Mhm.
Anyway, long story short, um, after a year or two, I closed the business down. I knew that I could not keep throwing money at it,
Yes.
and I drove cross country with my husband back to Canada. That really had a huge impact on my business in Canada as well. I just got sicker and sicker
Mhm.
and sicker because, when you're fearful about your financial situation, you're fearful about losing your house, you're fearful about everything. My mentor, whom I had not seen in 5 years, basically said to me, "Why don't you?" And that was Louise Lebrun of the Wealth Systems Institute. "Why don't you step into my program room and see what
Mhm.
happens?" And so I stepped into her program room and understand, she kind of uh, propelled me forward because of all the training that I had had in NLP, cranial sacral work,
Mhm.
uh, somato-emotional, like you name it, I've pretty much done it, and I've trained with the best. Anyway, I had been doing that all the time I was running my business. And I got into her program room and I saw some models and I went, wow, this is different. And basically, what she said to me was, we are raised up to believe that there is a God and it's not you.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
and that's wrong.
Yes.
So I decided I was already adept at all the energy work and all the healing work. I was a trainer of NLP, a teacher of hypnosis. You name it, I've done it. But I was still stuck. So that
Mhm.
whenever I got myself into a jam, if somebody handed me a shovel to dig myself out, it was like I was digging myself further back in.
Mhm.
Well, I'm wondering how many coaches and healers are out there actually recognizing that that
Yes.
may be an issue. So I simply decided I was going to change my mind and I was actually going to try that whole thing of I'm a small g God, big F force on. That's what
Mhm.
I decided to do. It wasn't easy because we're programmed
Yes.
literally through family systems models. We generation to generation to generation.
Mhm.
We are raised up with a level of expectation, and modeling is the greatest teacher. So it's easier to go into the familiar rabbit hole.
Of course. Unfamiliar is very scary.
And it, I just kept on going. So then within about 2 years, not even 2 years, I was actually able to look at my situation. And the one thing I had avoided my whole life was, I'm never going to declare bankruptcy. Like I
Mhm.
that the level of shame and embarrassment. So of course I
Mhm.
should have known I had carrying a lot of shame and embarrassment
Yes.
over my life. I wasn't going to go there. It's like, no, that's not going
Mhm.
to happen. So I talked to Louise one day in a restaurant and I said, here's a couple of things that are really making me upset. They kind of, to excuse the vernacular, pissing me off.
Mhm.
And she said, and it had to do with another situation, but it was all wrapped up
Mhm.
into the mess I was in. And I just said to her, she said, "Do you know this lawyer?" And I said no, and she said, "Well, he's probably the most expensive one in town." And I didn't feel like I had two shekels to rub together. So anyway, I called him up, and he was pretty expensive, but he just looked at me and he said, "Give me the numbers." And I had them all
Mhm.
in my head. And he said, "You may not know that I am the the professor at the university that teaches about bankruptcy, and you got to do it. Well, that was terrifying. That was just
Uh-huh.
really terrifying that I was going to do that. So I didn't do it right away, but I did it within 4 months. I just got a handle on it because I knew it was going to have an impact on my husband, and I knew it was
Mhm.
going to have an impact on everything. That was the price of a really good education,
Mhm.
and I did that. But on the way to doing that, I did a lot of research, and then I wrote a blog post that was over 4,000 words long. And when I realized, actually working through the code model, which is one of the templates that I was showing you,
Mhm.
I actually came face to face with all of my emotional stuff. And,
Yes.
sometimes we just got to look at facts and
Mhm.
do not be necessarily governed by the emotions. So it became really clear to me that the best out for me was to declare bankruptcy. And what also happened was it freed something in me to start to recognize that my entire life had been a bankruptcy. So
Oh, wow.
I don't mean that as good, bad, right, or wrong, but all the times that I said yes when I wanted to say no. All the times I said no when
Mhm.
I really wanted to say yes. All the times I would not take a chance, or
Mhm.
or some people would call it a risk, because I was too concerned about what people would think about me. And
Yes.
those are all basically self-esteem.
Mhm.
And those self-esteem issues are the things that literally cause people to get sick.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I
I would agree.
so so I did the declaration, and then I literally rebuilt myself and you know what? I'm 79 years old,
Oh, wow.
and I'm still taking courses, still doing what I need to do. I would say partly I do it, and mostly I do it because at all logical levels of thinking, I want to invest myself in discovering new ways. And one of the things that you
Mhm.
said, Victoria, was looking for new language. I'm always
Yes.
looking to hear other people's perspectives, and new language. Just came out of a 3-day program with somebody in the last couple of days. Just the perspective that person, and it was a business program, but the
Mhm.
perspective that person holds around uh, bankruptcy, money, all of those things,
Mhm.
and what people can do, but for themselves is huge. But the first thing and the main thing is we got to stop lying to ourselves about the genius of
Yes.
who we are and
Mhm.
the magnificence of this body that we live in, even
Mhm.
and how many of us have maligned it and maligned it and maligned
Mhm. Yes.
it.
Yes. So basically, when you said when you were writing your blog post about bankruptcy, this is kind of what that was your turning point to face your emotions and kind of shifted
I think it was
your
really my
perspective.
turning point to actually start writing at logical levels of thinking.
Mhm.
All the times I've been pissed off, all the people, like
Mhm. Mhm.
I was projecting on to all the people that were in my way, and all that,
Yes, yes, yes.
to get to the place where I recognize that it's all a co-creation.
Mhm.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
we've got to stop the fault and blame. That
Mhm.
it's easy to fault and blame others, but if we're not faulting and blaming them, we're usually turning in on ourselves and faulting and blaming ourselves.
Yes.
And we just continue to belittle ourselves. So, yes, that bankruptcy was a really big one for me to make the decision of I've been self employed all these years. You know what? When you declare bankruptcy, you've got to pay the piper. So
Mhm.
I could have gone and gotten a job, and I went, I have invested in all of these skills, and I'm good at them, and I love them.
Yes.
So I'm just going to get used to. I've always had lived with lumpy money, so you know what? I'm just going to. That's what you do when you're
Mhm.
self-employed, until you get systems in place where you don't aren't living with lumpy money. And I thought
Yes.
I can do that on the way to reinventing myself and living a happy life. And I get to
At 62, I just want to point it out. It was at 62. It's not like when we're talking when you're like 30, right? Oh, yes. And for some people, it can be a very scary age, but it's been beautiful 17 years for you, right?
right. It's
Yeah.
been a beautiful 17 years, and honestly, I don't. It doesn't matter whether you're 25 or whether you're 85.
Mm-hmm.
Those self-esteem issues really can really impact you. And the
Yes.
best way to recognize it is to start thinking, okay, I'm a force here. I'm a s-
Mm-hmm.
I'm a God force, and I'm quantum. I am not finite. So the essence of who I
Yes.
am is quantum. The body, well, eventually it's
It's a
going
temporary home, I call it.
to temporary home. It's the meat bag we created for ourselves, but it has this amazing nervous system. But as long as we continue to believe we are our bodies, and certainly we've
Mhm.
been raised up to believe that the body is basically a sinner. It's not.
Mhm. It
So
is not.
it
Yes.
is not. So your life can change, and I'm just living proof that it can happen for anybody. And be
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. So let's dive into quantum biological humans model. I love it. It really resonates with me and with what I do. And what does it mean in simple terms and why is it important? And we will share some slides so you can look at them. But how you can explain it in simple terms? Let's
yeah.
start with that.
So for your listeners, uh, these templates that Victoria is sharing with you are from the Wealth Systems Institute. Uh, this is my mentor's site. I'm a big believer in not reinventing the wheel. This is really what made all of my work uh,
Hmm.
with body spirit integration. Um, it just made it so much better because I went from feeling like I wasn't good enough to feeling like, man, I got the whole world in my hands. And I can help people. So never questioning my ability to help people. Just used to belittle it. We've been taught to be humble, but this was
Hmm.
really restructuring. This was really restructuring my reality. So very simply, I live in Canada. I know what I know. I also know what I don't know. And
Hmm.
then I there's all the stuff at the level of the body, which is the domain of the deep unconscious, that I don't know. And here's the thing: we have imprints and memories of everything we've ever thought about, smelt, tasted, felt. You can walk down the street, look at somebody, all of a sudden it sparks a memory. You 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 say that you've never met each other before, but there's something about that person.
Hmm.
So whether it's about the person or whether it's about the representation of a memory, all of that stuff is at the deep unconscious. And that's the stuff that's driving the bus. That's the stuff that's literally structuring your own personal reality. The template shows the reality in Fiji. You're going to know what you know.
Yes.
You're going to know what you don't know. And then you're going to have the whole thing. A Fijian may not know what it's like to live in Canada. I will not know what it's like to live in Fiji unless I
Yes.
actually go and do that. So the green dot in the middle, it's like the minute you have an epiphany, all of a sudden the light bulb goes on and you go, oh, or you've asked yourself a question and 3 weeks later, the answer shows up. Oh,
Yes, like insight, right? We call it insight.
insight, the epiphany and the insight, something's integrated there. So the big thing, only 7% of your communication is the words, 38% is tonality, and 55% is physiology. So 93% of your communication is really out of your conscious awareness, and
Hmm.
all lives in that part of I don't know that I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm.
and we sometimes we cannot even explain, right? It's so complex. Uh, what we can do, we can just feel it, as you said, as a light bulb, right? Like getting an answer 3 weeks later when we ask a question.
I once said to a chiropractor, he's deceased now, but he was so good at what he did. And I said, I was lying on his slab, and I said, do you ever ask yourself a question and wonder when the answer is going to show up? He said, oh, I just marvel at it. He said, sometimes I can remember asking that question out loud to myself 10 years before, and it's taken 10 years to get that. But the point he was making is that you're always going to get the answer. Question is,
Yes.
are you really paying attention? And here's
Yeah.
the thing, those words, creativity, innovation, empowerment, and change. How you, so the way you structure your reality is not about good, bad, right, or wrong. It's truly about how well do you want to have it, you know?
Yes.
And so it's if there's an ancient Hawaiian chant, and part of the words in it is Eli Eli Tepu, Eli Eli Noa. So Eli is another word for God force. Tepu is the thing that disconnects me from myself. We might call it this.
Mm.
If
Hmm.
you're talking in even Christian terms, you might call it the word sin. Noah is to clean up. So Eli Eli Tapu. So I created this thing. Now I don't like it. So
Hmm.
I can just change my mind and recreate. That's basically,
Yes.
we could say clean it up. Well, you're erasing what was, and you're going to add something more. So
Yeah.
in the 93% that I don't know.
Hmm.
There's something really massive going on in there. There's all kinds of opportunity to just say, how's this working for me? And be honest about it. Stop. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. No, it's not
Hmm.
okay. It's really not all right.
Yeah, but how do we, because we tend to tell ourselves a lie that I'm okay, I'm all right, even though, as you said, our physical body may already have some physical symptoms, or we may feel always tired, always stressed out, fatigued. But for some reason, we are not in tune with ourselves to hear the true answer to the questions. If we're asking, "Are we okay?" So yeah, I'm fine, because this is why basically why are we doing that?
I think people don't recognize that
Hmm.
they have choice. So
Hmm.
I can choose to lie to myself. And certainly I was taught well, because
I think we're taught very
we
well.
were all taught really well. and and you learn how to do it so that you can stay safe, but it's not the kind of safety. It's like you start to run strategies from
Yeah.
external referencing,
Hmm.
so that uh you just want to get the right answer, and you're afraid of getting it wrong. I don't know that there's any other way I can say it, except
Hmm. I
I,
Yeah, I call
I,
it.
I had to stop lying to myself about all the things that, oh, that's okay, I made nice about it, including the fact that sometimes in a business model, you go to accountants and you go to lawyers to help you set up the best structures and stay completely legal.
Hmm.
And then what happens when you've got two lawyers with different opinions, and you've got two accountants with different opinions at
Hmm.
the end of the day, and you know can you actually look at what they're saying, and they're saying this is the best option, and you actually say to them, well, it's not the best option for me. I don't know how we're going to do this, but how do we do it so that I stay within the limits of the law and do everything
Mhm.
right to not create messes for myself, but so that I don't end up defiling myself in the process. And
Correct.
people
Mhm.
people will just shove it back, and we do it in life. I mean, I'm using business as an example, but how many times have you gone to a doctor and he said X? I mean, I had a personal experience of this 13 years ago where I result of a bad car accident. Doctor
That's right.
wanted to put me on osteoporosis drugs. I just went, what?
No.
Why? And he
Yeah.
said, "Well, I don't think your leg should have broken that way." I said, "Well, you weren't actually at the accident." So,
Yes.
so, so they really wanted me to go ahead with it. And that's
Mhm.
when your confusion comes up about, oh God, what if they're right? What if I don't do it?
Mhm. Mhm.
But, um, I just said, this doesn't map to how I healed from the accident, because I healed fast from
Yeah.
the accident. They said it would take me 4 months. I was weight bearing in 2.5.
Oh,
So
wow.
I just went, because of what I know, this body of knowledge, because of what I know,
Yes.
I, I honestly, am not going to do that. And but it left me in a quandary because the tests that they ran
Mhm.
were indicators for severe osteoporosis. I just said, no, I'm not doing that. And part of the decision making process was I didn't want to put the drug in. They were
Mhm.
going to put I was going to have to self inject every day for 24 months. And it was going to cost $1,000 a month. And I went,
Mhm.
I think I've already declared bankruptcy. I don't know if I do that again. Well, I just said no, and they said to me, "Well, what are you gonna do if you fall?" And I said, "Now I want you to hear the metaphor in this. I will pick myself up and keep on going." And I have a big dog. I walk that big dog. She's
Mhm.
110 pounds,
Oh, wow.
and I walk that dog, and I've had some falls. I just pick myself up again
Mhm.
and keep on going. That is a metaphor for life. So the choice
Mhm.
point, why do people keep doing that? I think they just don't recognize the power of being present in the now and owning, not lying to yourself, owning right now. This doesn't feel right and I don't like
Yes.
it, but we're so afraid to tell anybody else that we don't want to do it the way they want to do it.
Yeah.
We don't know what to do, but we know if we go down that same rabbit hole we've always gone, no, it'll only get worse. So
It will.
somebody said to me years ago, you know what, Sheila? It's only going to last 10 seconds. 10 seconds from now, the perspective is going to be different. And 10 seconds, well, yeah, go outside and take a walk and look at the trees and give the tree a hug. Or I live near a trail, walk down the trail and own the truth of your experience. And
Mhm.
I might be using a couple of curse words walking down the trail. Vent my,
These are your emotions, right? So you
yeah,
have to
but
embrace them.
But actually own the truth of your experience
Yeah.
in the moment. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're
Yes.
and do not turn it in on yourself. And that's where actually the breathing is
Mhm.
something that becomes so massively
Mhm.
important
Mhm.
in that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, one of the things that I recommend as well is to try when we just at the beginning of our journey to get to know ourselves
mhm.
and to live in truth with ourselves. It's simple with food and drinks. Like, do I want to drink tea or coffee? And really listen to it because sometimes in the morning we have to drink coffee, right? So, because everybody else does it. But my body wants tea. And when you start asking that question, what do you want to drink, what do you want to eat, do you want to eat fish or meat today? So it actually helps you to start seeing the difference and learning to get to know yourself from a different perspective rather than what society tells you who you have to be.
The yes and no factor,
Hmm.
it's kind of like, is this supporting me? No.
Yes.
Is this supporting me? Yes. Is it,
Hmm.
well, this, I think for me, the body sometimes lets you know before your intellect ever gets it. You ask yourself a question, you go, nah, you can tell my head's going like this when,
Yes.
and I go, okay, so take a breath. It's just like really, really honoring that.
Yeah, being in tune with your body and your mind and your soul. So this, as you said, even body will probably do um things, shake our head no before you ask a question.
So I spent a lot of time in Hawaii studying Huna, which is an ancient Hawaiian philosophy of life.
Hmm.
But what's interesting here is that there's three selves. You know, your spiritual self, your physical self,
Hmm.
and your intellectual self. If you could imagine, most of us have been raised up with a big X crossed through the body, the lower self. People say, figure it out. You've made a mess here, just figure it out. The body is where all your sensory cues are. They're letting you know all the time, split second to split, breath to breath to breath. They're letting you know
Hmm.
what's going on. It's where you feel all the emotions,
Yes.
and it's where all the movement happens. So if I say to myself, oh, I really, really, really like to have that new car that I just saw,
Hmm.
and I've never seen the car before, and all of a sudden, so this is just a practical application. All of a sudden, I start seeing that car coming around every
Yes.
every corner. So that's your reticular activating system in your brain working for you.
Yes.
It's all part of the body. The body literally becomes the barometer, the tuning fork for the things that you desire
Hmm.
most. But what if you desire them most and then you're not paying attention to
Hmm.
what's showing up in the body because you've already been told it's you're wrong to want that.
Yes.
You
You cannot have it. Yes.
cannot have it. So meanwhile, you've got all these conflicts duking out undercover in the body. We're looking for space, movement, and flow. So
Hmm.
we become this rigid container. So I use that word rigid advisedly because thoughts become things. So if I
Hmm.
cannot allow myself to even imagine,
Because it's scary for like it is, it can feel very scary to have that,
yeah,
for example. Hmm.
and we put the clamp down
Yes.
because of all kinds of rules that we put on ourselves. The body's literally integral to processing all of that information that's out here. So,
Yes. It's
dear,
available.
dear God, please give me X. And you're not paying any attention to hear about letting the big breath happen in the body so that maybe X
Yes.
could start to reorganize itself and come down with what you um, I'm making it I think I'm making it simple and I might be making it hard for people, but honestly, that body is where that's the intelligence. That is
Hmm.
our intelligence.
Yes.
Once we allow ourselves to own the truth of that intelligence, to feel everything that's going on, to
Hmm.
own our, oh no, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. Meanwhile, your jaw's tight.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And you could see, you could see
Yeah,
it
you're,
even in some people.
you know. you're not owning all of those, what you would call energy, aspects of emotion, energy and emotion. You're not owning any of it
Correct.
and allowing it to be processed. You will not get the clarity, which is the intellect, because once things are
Hmm.
processed in the body, all of a sudden you have a clarity of mind that you
Correct.
didn't know you had before. And so you might actually take a wise choice to take an approach that everybody else is going to tell you you're crazy,
Hmm.
but you take the
Hmm.
approach anyway. And it also means that in those situations, you will find yourself operating alone. And
Yes.
when you can operate alone, knowing that you are never alone, because you're always going to be guided by a higher self, which is the space that you are. That's the field. The space
Hmm.
that you
The
are
field, yes.
is the field.
Hmm.
So your body's, you can't cut it out. It's it you know, but it's us trying to cut it out, not pay attention to it, is what makes
Hmm.
is what makes it sick.
Yes.
So
Yes. And I think our body is so smart, and but the way we were learned about ourselves, we were not learned to listen to our body. And when you were given an example, oh, I want that expensive car, but for example, my parents told me you cannot have it, right?
right.
Something, anything can be one of the blockages. So limiting belief can be anything, and we say no, 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 I really want it, but if you listen to your body, you could feel like your whole body is scared to have it. And I think this is when you start paying attention at how your body feels to your wants and needs, and if it's true for you, you will feel that expansion. Or if it's all like this, it's probably a way to, it's somewhere that you need to look at more deeper, and kind of clear your energy, right? Clear your blockages, and realizing that, yeah, I can have it, it's okay to have it, and I can have it, and proceed to your new reality, as you said, right? So your reality is here, and it's here. But if I believe this is my reality, it may not be in line with other people's reality. And if I'm true with myself, my reality is probably will be better.
Well, and that takes you back to that original diagram of reality.
Yes, yes.
Just what you said there, a great indication of your reality is going to be really unique to you.
Yes.
And the reality of the people that you spend time with is going to be really,
Hmm.
and all of us are trying to get everybody else to match to our reality. It
Yes.
doesn't work very well.
We are so unique, we're not identical, and when we try to put something that is let's say right to us, it may not sound good to another person, and we have to accept it. We cannot force that person to like what I do, for example, or to accept what I do, but
Right,
because in their reality it's something different, so they have more important things that are not important to me, for example,
right.
and embracing that and accepting is building that unique reality.
What the reality that you literally create happens because the body is the tuning fork listening in, and it's sending vibrations of the higher self, which is
Hmm.
what you really are. And
Yes.
it transfers through the body as movement. So, space, movement, and flow. Those are the idioms that I'm always working with: space, movement, and flow. And
Mhm.
how, at multiple logical levels of thinking, how can I expand space, movement,
Mhm.
and flow? Well, the space, I have to believe, I choose to believe that I'm space first. And
Uh-huh.
there is movement in that. And the body is going to let me know all the time. So sometimes, I do a lot of what I call body spirit integration. Um,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes I will tell clients, now that you've got things moving, and the body, you've given the body permission to open up and to start feeling again. The
Yes.
movement, the movement, every now and then you might feel something that doesn't feel comfortable. You will
Mhm.
know You don't have to be afraid of it. You will just know
Mhm.
that the body is literally unwinding itself, unraveling the constructs that have been held in place for so long. Not as good, bad, and right and wrong as a construct that developed because in
Mhm.
the moment of you choosing, it served a valid purpose.
Yes.
And, what worked for you at 5 doesn't necessarily work for you when you're 50. But
Correct.
there's a
It
lot of
it changes. Yes.
but there's a lot of 5-year-olds at board tables. You
Yeah, I mean,
know,
I have an 11-year-old. He has different interests, right? Which changed when he was 5. I wanted to ask you, why do you think that so many women avoid to feel that deeply, avoid to feel different emotions in their lives?
I think women have always been the linchpins in family systems. I think they are the ones that we have always been the ones who have been depended upon.
Hmm.
We have also been told, this might be offensive to some people, second class citizens. Because it's basically how we were raised up. Um,
Like historically, I think it goes centuries and centuries ago.
yeah,
Hmm.
and there's an expectation. There has been an expectation that you're not the wise one. That's kind of a hard
Hmm.
thing to live up to when I have never known a woman who could not figure out where the next meal was coming, where the money was going to come for the shoes for the kids when when she,
Hmm.
and a lot of the time when she didn't have the dollars to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They figure it out. I have never I've never met a woman who didn't figure out how she was going to help her kid when they really, really needed help. We've been taught to go, I think women historically have been taught to go to bat for everybody else, but not for themselves.
Hmm.
That as far as we've come, I
Yes.
think there's some cellular memory in there that
Hmm.
and for women, been basically told we don't have a voice, and the choice point is where it's at. It's present tense, and am I going to just take a breath, stand my ground, and say no when the answer is
Hmm.
really no, and yes when and then move with my feet and get on with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And sometimes when you say no, it feels good. And people may accept your no, but we're so afraid to say no because we want to be good, right? We want to be nice to other people,
I think you
but not too nice to ourselves.
I think you said it really well. Yeah, no does feel really good, and it's like a big burden has been lifted off of you. I think yes in the face of I want to say yes is great. I think no in the face of I want to say
Yeah.
no is great. But if if the fear of saying no when you really want to say yes, for an example, is greater than the value
Hmm.
of saying yes because that's what you really want. We're so familiar with that energy signature to just deny it that
Correct.
we default into it. And the only way I know out of it is that when I'm asked a question, I just stop and I hear myself exhale, and I'll do it again and again and again because the one thing that I think most people do not know is that everything is a stimulus response, everything is a cause and effect. So
Hmm.
if I literally am triggered by something, nobody ever puts that's a stimulus response, and nobody ever actually considers that you're breathing 24/7. So the glue is what holds that stimulus response together is the breath. So the minute
Hmm.
and if we've been told to stop breathing, I mean, how many of us were raised with stop your crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Well, that's a threat right there.
Yes.
And so you learn that over time. You keep doing that over time. You just stop breathing. The body over time goes into collapse, and then the conflicts show up, and you get sick. And
Mm-hmm.
most of the illness out there, I'm sorry, people are going to be ready to kill me when they hear this. Most of the illness, virtually all of it, if we would just stop and take a breath and exhale again and exhale again, would and not try to figure things out, we will get better. You can't not, because
Mm-hmm.
there's an alchemy to the breath that actually heals.
So do you think, I think breathing, it's one of the things that we do 24/7
Yeah,
automatically, right? So we don't have to think about it, but also we can control when we're practicing breathing exercises. But do you think that can be the first step for women who are trying or who are beginning their detective work to get to know themselves? Or there is something else that you can share?
I think first thing for me was, well, I just saw something here. I It all makes sense to my body. My body was
Mm-hmm.
looking at these models on the wall when I first walked into my mentor's program room, and I went, I don't know how it works. I just know that it works. And then I just decided nothing else. The context that I've been living in is, here's what normal looks like, and you don't map to it, so you better map to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
decided in that moment, in a space that she had created that was so non-judgmental, she just held it all as intelligence, that all of a sudden I just went, the other context doesn't work. All meaning is context dependent, and that context of fixed broken doesn't work. The context of, I'm a God force and everything I've created has an intelligence behind it, I think I'll try that one on. And I just kept doing that, and I've been doing it for the last 18 years,
Yes.
and I've only gotten happier, and I've I've also gotten, I'm gonna say, a little riskier.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that the riskier translates into friskier. That's my aim, anyway.
Mhm.
But, honestly, life's too short, and especially in these times now, because people are very afraid. They're afraid
Mhm.
and they're angry.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
just adopting a different framework. So do I fall into the old defaults all the time? But man, I don't stay there very long because
Mhm.
it is not comfortable. But take a
Yes.
breath.
Agree.
To take a breath, it settles down the body.
Mhm.
Take a breath and relax my jaw. Settles down the
Yes.
body. Everything's so much better.
Mhm. Mhm. That's amazing and beautiful because adapting new mindset, catching yourself, and
Yeah,
also noticing things that are good for me and things that are not working for me and accepting, embracing them, it helps to shift our reality.
yeah,
And taking a breath, just literally just sit and breathe for a few minutes, and you may find clarity.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it was amazing to learn more about quantum biological humans, amazing humans as we are, unique. And if you think about it, we are really unique, right? With our traits, with our fears, with our feelings and emotions, but we are unique and we have to embrace our uniqueness. Thank you for providing the slides. Those were amazing. There are more slides. I will share more information below this episode so you can take a look and dive deeper into quantum biological human study and knowledge. Uh, Sheila, what would be your final encouragement message, your legacy message to the listeners?
Breathing is good. and breathing is paramount. So we may think that we are breathing, but in fact, when the body's in collapse, sometimes we're holding our breath and only, you know, if we're looking at space movement and flow, just inhale, inhale your life and just exhale your experience out into the world and just continue and let yourself hear yourself breathe. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the models at the Well Systems Institute. So wellsystems.com,
Mm-hmm.
WEL hyphen systems.com. And you can find more about me at SheilaWinterWallace.com. That's it.
Yeah.
And I refer back to Well Systems all the time because when something is that powerful and that um, organic and that
Yeah.
natural,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm I'm not a big one on reinventing the wheel. There's a whole community of women who are looking at this and going, "Wow, how much better can I have it?"
Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
actually choose to believe that I'm a force and I can move
Yes.
through this. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for your wisdom, your vulnerability, and for reminding us that it's never too late to live in truth and choose differently. If you're navigating personal struggles and always feel like you are not present in the moment, download my 3 favorite techniques to boost your calmness below this episode. And remember, no matter how tough things get, you are not alone.